Let's break the mold, start believing, and stop waiting for the other shoe to drop. Welcome to Wild on 7, presented by Pilot Games. We're here until it's here.
All right, welcome back. This is Wild on 7th, your favorite Wild podcast presented by Pilot Games. Special thanks to all the sponsors here on the podcast. You got Pilot Games, Aquarius Home Services, Jimmy's Dressings and Dips. Hey man, listen, the Wild are, it seems like they're starting to, let's start with the Chains episode. Really, I think we're onto something there. And the mojo started to find its way back inside the locker room. And I think organically we're starting to see them have a little bit more fun, enjoying themselves. Maybe that comes with winning some more games. A 7-game homestand, I think that, they did. It actually seemed like a grind. It wasn't as easy as it looks. Like, I think if you were to watch every single game and then all of a sudden you go back and look and say, like, man, they were 5-2 on that 7-game homestand. Didn't feel that way, which is something that we're going to have to get into at some point, because I think the Wild are playing to their competition and how we think that will play out. We'll get into some other stuff too, but before we do, let's bring in Kinger. Kinger, what do you think? Because right now, I know you've probably got something holstered. You're probably not in love with my attire.
Yeah, as I recall, we had a bet that 8 points gets the tarp off, which I think you probably wanted to do. You're a ex-pro athlete. You're probably fit. I wore a shirt in the swimming pool for a lot of years. And I think you were probably just trying to make this happen. But you did tell the listeners 4 wins out of the last 5 games in the homestand, and it was tarps off. So that's just on you. I don't know if you're a promise keeper or not.
Well, see, now this is funny because this is a podcast, and I thought this is a podcast team. And I watched a game yesterday between the Wild and the Dallas Stars, and the first intermission interview was our boy Jake Middleton. And I don't know if you consumed it, but he didn't have a shirt on.
Heart rate monitor.
I've got one for you right here to put on. Then the next intermission, another shirtless interview. And this one was Kalen Addison. And finally, after the win, Ryan Reeves says, if those two guys do it without a shirt, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I saw that with the pizza and all that.
So it seems to not be an individual thing to take your shirt off for these broadcasts and the cameras. It seems to be a team thing. So I really didn't want to put you in a weird spot by coming out here without talking about it beforehand. Okay. Take my shirt off for the cameras and then have to, force you to do that as well. So I don't know if you want, we do have a heart rate monitor if you'd like to hide behind it a little bit.
Okay. Here. Couple things. Do any of those guys have high shoulder hair?
High shoulder
hair? Or if they put a heart rate monitor here, would their chest fall over the heart rate monitor?
No, but
they're pro athletes.
I feel like people would tune in for exactly that. Like, that's what I want to see.
Well, I don't know how I'm a part of this.
Are we a team or are we not a team? I feel like the team does this stuff, right?
Well, I don't know that.
I need a little help here. I'm uncomfortable. Are you going to help me out or what?
I will help you out, but I don't want to do it right now because I'd like to do a good podcast. So we can figure out how this plays in a minute. But so I think, how like people will talk about the meaning of life and somehow it's like simpler than you thought. I think maybe that now we are all in Jake Middleton's fanny pack. All of us, we're inside of it. So like the universe, like we're inside of it. Because if you look, Reeves doing the intros before the game, just screaming insanity. He's grabbing pizza like the start of Kingpin, just like doing an interview, grabbing pizza from, who was that even brought him the pizza?
Marcus.
Okay, I couldn't even see it. And he's just eating pizza. We're winning shootout games. We're having some fun. Like it's starting to happen. And then even Reeves says, we're going to go out west to play in the snow, I think is what he said, or have some fun in the snow. I mean, this is not the sort of angst that we were feeling around Tria Arena. It feels pretty good. It feels light on its feet.
Yeah, it does. And I think it has to do with winning. I think the homestand really did come at a good time, and they needed to win because there's also a lot more pressure. Like, you have 7 games at home. It's been a grind on the road, and I think it had been. Like, guys were tired. It was visible. I don't think that they would say that, but the schedule was tough. A lot of trips out west, and extra days travel, and then 7 games, 17 days at home. That can be a long stretch too, actually. Holiday, whole 9 yards. But to be at home, the pressure of the fans to get back into it, there's a lot of hype on this club coming into the season, and you're going to live up to expectations and do all of those things. Well, the Wild at home, and it wasn't. I think we have to be. It wasn't beautiful that 7-game homestand, but they got the job done. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. I think we reflect on how last year went too. Like we saw that experiment. Yeah, it seemed like they just ran away with every game last year. This year, it seems that they're having to learn different ways to win. Last year was come from behind or score a handful of goals and absolutely run away with it. They still have not had like routine kind of easy run-of-the-mill wins. They've had to work for every single one of them, but they're getting them, right? So
and I think that Dallas game was the one win we hadn't seen. We've been in a couple of these games, like with the Kings, where you're kind of playing a good team, high scoring, it's sort of no defense to be found. And it was good to see us win that 6-5 kind of fire wagon. And then we've had we've kind of played down to some teams, teams come back into games. The Oilers victory is pretty sound in some ways, considering, who you're playing against. And for whatever reason, the Wild have a nice thing going with the Oilers. But I was happy to see that we won that Dallas game, because it gave me those feelings of that Kings game early in the year where I'm like we're not going to win. Like somehow they're going to get the last laugh here. And I was very happy to see.
Well, yeah, there's kind of been this bend, not break kind of mantra with the club. And, Anaheim, I can understand them laying the egg against Anaheim a little bit. Anaheim, quite frankly, they're in the Connor Bedard race. Like they're the front runner. You look at the club, and they've had probably chance. They have salary cap space, a lot of ways to get better and try to bolster their lineup, and they have not. They've elected not to. They've got guys like Mason McTavish, a top-end pick, who they just aren't putting with high-end players. And you can read between the lines. Really, we don't fully know, but it seems like they're content to sit still, struggle, and maybe really kickstart their rebuild with a guy like Bedard, and help Zegras and some of these other guys. They're without Drysdale. So anyway, point being, very beatable team. And you can see like it'd be easy for the Wild. They come into this one. It's the 7th game, 17th day that they've been at home in a row. Anaheim comes to town, 1:00 start. They start the backup goaltender. And just from like a mentality standpoint, it's hard not to say, okay, coach is putting in the backup goaltender against this team because Dallas is the better club. Tomorrow afternoon game once again. And they came out, and it was, they kind of just went through the motions for 40 minutes. But thankfully, Anaheim is that poor to the point where they could still find a way to win that game, and they did in the shootout. But Dallas, again, they're just finding ways to win games, and they don't get the row in either one of those, the regulation win or overtime win, which it can bite you at the end of the year. And you gave Dallas an extra point and whatever. I think it's a little early to be looking at that stuff, but they're going to have to find some of that magic in these come from behind games, because I do think at the end of the year, you have to balance those out. Like you give some points and lose a row, you have to take some to offset it a little bit. But I've been entertained by the shootouts though, man. Yeah, we got excited.
We got to talk about that. So I think my favorite was Zegras does this just crazy Patrick Kane-like slow down, shelf. And then Kirill just comes in and just efficiently scores, almost like it's the same. I picture him being like, they're the same. We each get one, What is this? Why all the shenanigans? Put the puck in the net. It was so funny, the contrast of that sort of, and in so many ways I want to get into Kirill a bit in this issue and where we think he sits, but it's clear that, Dean loves Freddie in the shootout, and just loves him in general, because I think that's his security blanket in a lot of ways. But and he won the game yesterday with the third shot, and Boldy did it the day before on the fourth. But it's it's an important part of the game, and it is fun to watch Flower play in the shootout too, because it's like when Flower's in net in a shootout, it's like the end of practice.
Yeah.
Like we're just going to do the one where you go on the wall when you make it, and if you don't, you go over here. The diving poke check, he actually hit that one with his hand and it went across the crease, and he's smiling the whole time, even though, at the start it looked a little shaky for him, but he's perfect. And I mean, he must love it.
The shoot.
Yeah.
Well, I do think he does enjoy it. I mean, if
he's just laughing
after every warm up, he takes like 10 or 12 breakaways. I think he just has fun doing it. But how about that poke check versus Robertson?
Nope.
just swimming between the dots. He's all right. He rebounded and the team found a way to win. But scoring 3 in a row. But you're right, man. Kaprizov, it's unbelievable. He makes it look so easy. Now, he did the same move in back-to-back games.
Well, because you just can't stop it.
And I don't know how, or obviously it's placement, it's speed. There's a lot that goes into it. But against Anaheim, he just goes 2 and 10 or Mohawk turn for no reason coming down the slot, and then he just snaps it upstairs. It's like, look, always wondering, like, what's he doing? And then all of a sudden it's in there. He's like, oh, that's what.
The Indiana Jones clip, right, where the guy's like spinning all of the knives and stuff, and then he just shoots them.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me is Kirill. He's such an ox, right? He's such a hard worker. He's always in the dirty areas. I would watch Sid a lot, and I was always surprised how sort of hard Crosby played, how he was always in the place. It's a bit like Zach when he was here. This is a guy getting 100 sticks in his lower back. This is somebody along the walls, somebody in the blue snot bubble. And I really think Kirill he plays hard and strong. So I was trying to, I think he's a top 5 NHL player. It's hard to look at with stats, right? McDavid's there. McKinnon's there. And then I started like doing groupings. I was like, I'm going to have both the Kachucks take one spot. I'm going to have Fox and Carlson and Makar take one spot for a defender. Mm-hmm. I'm not giving a goalie spot up. I don't know about Pasternak, but I think he's right. He's right there as a top 5 guy in the entire league, which we've never seen on the NHL side. We've certainly had some football players come through this town that were top of the top, but we've never seen a player like this before.
No, not on the ice. And I think you're right as a top 5 player, and we could actually probably really focus on the Edmonton game. And I touched on this in the broadcast yesterday, and even it showed a little bit in the Anaheim game. But a lot of these guys that you're talking about as the best players in the NHL, Connor McDavid, McKinnon, they're like one-on-one. Like, I'm going to stick handle beat you with speed. I'm going to go through you one-on-one kind of players, right? Yep. And they're electric and they're fun to watch. And a lot of it's off the rush, but they get their feet moving and it's exciting and the crowd gets going and boom, the puck's in the back of the net. And
but that can disappear.
Well, that's what happens. That's what I'm talking about.
That's like Tyler Sagan, right?
That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, it's like, it can just be gone.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, but Kirill is different. Kirill is skilled, but you don't see him stick handle through people. Like, I don't see him like attack somebody one-on-one. You know what I mean?
No. And it's almost like he's very efficient, almost brutal. So, right? The way he plays. He's an SUV when a lot of these guys are like
Ferraris.
Although he is a Ferrari. I mean, he can skate better than anybody and all that, but he plays so hard and he's just like, I know he could score a lacrosse goal, but there's something about him that's almost like the last thing he would ever do. He's like,
the amazing part is it's somehow below him. It's beneath him somehow.
He's like, why would I do? I see spots to put the net in the net regular hockey.
Yeah.
Why we don't need this?
Right.
I don't know why I do like a half Russian accent all the time, but I just like that contrast between the Zegras goal, like he's making a movie for his high school cinema arts class, and then Kirill's just like, I put here, we score a goal, next guy hopefully win game. I mean, he's just the best. It's the best.
And he wins a lot of one-on-ones, and he takes guys one-on-one, and that's kind of how he creates his ice and does this, but he does it with like possession.
He's more Yager-like.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
I mean,
more
he's
possession,
like,
more. I need somebody on my back or somewhere inside my snot bubble to beat them. Not like I'm going to attack you and blow past you. It's like, come to me, then I can beat you.
Yeah, he's not posterizing you in the NBA.
Right.
He wants the body so he can back you in.
Yes.
And then just skyhook and just score.
Right.
I mean, can we just put more weird sports metaphors in here? Maybe we could have like a chef. If he was a chef, what type of chef would he be? But he is different. I think he's efficient. He's rugged and he's brutal. You know, he's more like an Ovechkin, a Yager, than he is a McDavid, right? He's just, it's special. It's blue collar, I think, which I think the people like too. Maybe sometimes he gets caught in, you know, sometimes we've talked about it. You've talked about it on the broadcast. Sometimes he's having to work too much, and that maybe isn't great. But I think that's kind of what he likes. I mean, he likes to go get it.
But I also think he's starting to sharpen his edge, and he's starting to figure out like when to do that and when not to a little bit more. Like where he hits pay dirt when he turns on the extra work and where it's wasted. And let's just go right to the Edmonton game. I think he does. And that's another thing I think we love about him.
Well, he knows when there's another 97. He knows when Jason Robertson was bitching about not getting the Calder because he was younger. He wants to play against Ovi.
Yes.
Remember when he got hurt?
Yes.
I think they almost sat him out because they're like, "Oh, you're hurt. Well, then you're hurt for the Ovi game too." You know, I mean, but he knows,
right? And he wanted to be the best. And what's great about it is that he doesn't change. He doesn't turn into a McDavid, to a one-on-one, to I'm going to show you. He plays his game just at a heightened level, and it's a winner. And I go back to Bill Guerin, and I'll have to eat crow here because when they gave him $9 million after 50-something games, it's like, I don't know that you have to give him that much money. You know, you might be able to say, here's a 2-year deal, a 3-year deal. Billy knew what he was doing, but the first thing Billy said after that situation was, hey, this guy, I'm comfortable with it because this guy is a winner. And he put that on display. And now you look at the style of these stars, the narrative up in Edmonton is that McDavid and Draisaitl are great. They just cannot win, right? Now, Kirill seems like his style is more conducive to winning when the flair, the one-on-one, all of it stops. What's going to translate into playoff type of hockey? And I think it's Kirill Kaprizov in his game.
Yeah, he can win a street fight, and that's what the playoffs are. And we saw it in the playoffs. We know he can perform.
But then also, so fast forward to the Anaheim game. The first 2 periods, the team is completely flat. And he's guilty of it too. And they weren't playing great. 3rd period, he says, okay, do your Russian voice. Enough.
Right? This is why we play with these guys, hang around too much.
So boom, he turns it on, and you could see it from the first shift in that game in against Anaheim.
I bet on it. I bet on it after the second.
It was different, and he willed it. He worked for it, and it was a grind goal, physical, tied it late. And then the shootout, the skill takes over. Like, the guy's just a winner. He really is just a winner, and that's a differentiator. And I don't know that you're going to go on a stat sheet and say that, you know, you can quantify it this way or that. And he's always going to be looking up at a guy like McDavid. But I think if you're drafting to win a Stanley Cup this year, he might be ahead of McDavid in terms of overall draft picks.
Yeah, if you think about you're building the body for your Cup team, he's the heart, right? He has that aspect of him where it's that MVP quality. He really does have that. I think he's on that list of first 5 guys. If you're putting the first building block out there to build a Stanley Cup franchise, he's getting picked real early. If it's not the first 5, it's early. Hey, do you think Dallas is I'm starting to feel like Dallas is a really interesting rival for us. I know we only play them 4 times, but there's, you know, they left, you know, Norm Green sucks. Jason Robertson doing what he's doing. There's kind of a weird Ovi Sid thing with Kirill and Robertson. Obviously, Suter's there. See Foligno battling him at the end of one of the periods. I would love in a playoff series to go over Dallas on the way. There's something about, you know, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader stuff that needs to happen there. And all of it. Maybe Kirill beats up Jamie Benn. I don't know. Like I want to go through Dallas. I think that's a legit rival.
Yeah, I do too. And
Pavelski, all of it. It's like it just all feels close in.
I was doing the broadcast yesterday and I looked up into the rafters and it was weird because I saw like Madonna's number, a couple Broughton, Goldsworthy, and it's just like that. I had to double take because it's like, that doesn't seem right, and then it's like, you think about it, it's like, oh, I get it now. Right. But ever since then, there's been something. When I played, there was a pretty good playoff series with Dallas too, and Dallas ended up winning the series, which hurt. And I think Pominville, it was game 6 we lost. We should have won it. Pominville scored late. Something was taken away. I don't have the best recollection of it, but I think there's something there. There's meat on that bone. I don't quite know if Kirill and Robertson are like Ovechkin and Crosby just yet.
No, I don't think people see that link, but what do you make of this kid? So he's an American, which is good. We love Americans. So what is he doing? I mean, he's putting up crazy points. Is he really benefiting from who he's playing with? What do you see in the Robertson?
He is benefiting from who he's playing with. I think there's no question about that. And some of that is Joe Pavelski. That line might be the best line in the NHL right now. Rupe Hintz, who just signed a huge contract, I think an average of $8-point-something million. He's like the big speed guy through the middle. And then Robertson, like again, watching that game, that top line ended up with 4 of the 5 goals for Dallas, and Robertson got one of them. And Nifty Hands, nice work on the goal, but he didn't like stand out. He wasn't like the driver of the offense, like Kirill is. So I think a lot of it is the puck goes through Pavelski, and he's such a smart player. And I think Robertson and Pavelski have kind of that same chemistry, and they think the game the same way, a lot like Kirill and Zuccarello do.
Yep.
And then Rupe Hintz is a nice complement to those pieces. And Pavelski made some unbelievable passes yesterday, and it was kind of crazy actually. But I think Robertson's a benefactor of a lot of those dishes. Like Pavelski just finds lanes and knows where people are without having to dust the puck off and look at it. But he's not like he almost doesn't look like he's a fast skater. He's upright. His legs are straight. He's got a long stick, but he's got some subtle nuance to like the way he shoots it. He can shoot it around people.
Yep.
Goaltenders, I think, have a hard time tracking it because everybody now is taught to shoot the same way, which is pull, drag, shoot, right? And he can do it a little different, and goalies are having a hard time tracking it. And, he jumps on rebounds. He scored the rebound goal against Fleury, which is a pretty play too. But different kind of player. Have to be honest, I'm surprised that the production has been as good.
It's serious.
Yeah, he's the real deal. And then it's not like a flash in the pan. He was good as a rookie, no sophomore slump, and now it's off to the races again this year. Like it's not a fluke. He's that good. It's just it doesn't.
And Pavelski's just I watched that Vegas All-Star Game deal where he was breaking the plates from the Bellagio fountain. I mean, this is one of those guys, right? Ping pong, golf. It doesn't matter what it is, right? Skee ball. He's just a talent and making everybody better. But yeah, I would like to run through Dallas. Now the boys are going, they go up western Canada, right? Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver. And as Revo said, they're going to play in the snow. They're going to have some fun in the snow. So I wonder, I was trying to figure out what that would look like. Like, you obviously can't go skiing or snowboarding, I wouldn't think, because you could get hurt. I mean, sitting in a hot tub is not a terrible thing in one of these towns and, a ski ranch. But, like, what do you think that means for a team to have a little, we just had a nice run, 6 out of 7, 4 in a row. And now they get to go kind of be together for a day or so before the next game.
Well, I think the first thing that they should do is a afternoon game back-to-back. They should make sure that they get some good nutrition, maybe some sensible snacks in them.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Hey, do you think if Kirill falls in the snow, it just makes an angel? It might. So what I would tell those guys if I were up there, I would say, hey, we've been doing well. Let's not take it for granted. So let's maybe make a tray of sensible snacks. Yeah. Let's have some veggie dip, we'll have a spinach, we'll have a ranch, we'll have a dill. Maybe bring some holy smokes maybe take the tarps off, get the heart rate monitor on, passing around the snacks. Enjoy the holy smokes. You can put it on a bread. You can put it on a bun. And it's a Minnesota-based company, 3rd generation, Jimmy's salad dressings and dips, as we like to say. Don't ya be messing with the dressing. We want one right back at you. Because the thing is...
You always do that.
Okay, you just go ahead then.
Okay, because when somebody passes it to you, do you say, would you like me to pass it to you?
Well, I probably would.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you
I'm
always
not, I'm not a good
want
player.
Confirmation that
I should just seamlessly.
Yes, I want one on the back door. Just send a nice sauce over.
I should just seamless. Now I can't. You gotta do it yourself.
So what should they fill that hot tub with? Well, it would make sense if they had some.
It was right there. It was right there. So what if they were in a hot tub doing a little après ski, even though they didn't ski?
Well,
what might they fill?
They'd want some softened water in there for sure, because it's supposed to be cold. They're going to have that team building amazing race outside, and instead it's gotten really cold and windy, and that can be hard on the skin, really dry it out. And one way to combat that is to have soft water. Really helps lubricate the skin. Well, at my house we have some of the softest water in town, thanks to Aquarius Home Services and their water treatment and filtration systems. Today's actually a big day at the Carter house too, because we're flooding the rink.
Ooh, today.
Yeah, so we are actually going to tax that water system.
Mustache off, rink full.
Oh yeah. So 12,000 gallons pumped out into there, filtered. I've had the rust issues. I don't like the brown tinted rinks. Doesn't look good. This isn't a pond. This is a rink.
Are you running this right off your normal hose, or do you do one of these special things where a truck comes to your house?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
So you get some assistance. You do pro hockey style.
I do. Well, I don't know that it's pro hockey style. It's just a big rink and a lot of water, but I know my system can handle, having to
time lapse
through the
Will you document this?
Yeah, go through the stress. It'll be 40 hours of running the hose, and the system will have
that's-
no problem handling it.
Okay.
But Aquarius Home Services, they've hooked me up with that water treatment system. The water will be clear, and you won't be able to tell the difference between the truck stuff and the stuff coming out of the hose. Woohoo! But they're a one-stop shop. So whether you need heating and cooling, electrical, plumbing, they've got you covered. They're earning the right to be recommended. Aquarius Home Services, they're just a click away. AquariusHomeservices.com.
I'll get better at that. I should have. It was right there. Hey, so when they're doing the playing in the snow phase, there's a couple things I would hope happens to the guys. In Miracle, when they're throwing the football around a little bit, not like a game, but they have a football. It's inflated to the right. It's ready, and they're wearing winter caps, and they're just tossing a football around a little bit. I hope that happens. I hope one of the guys, maybe Moose, maybe Brodeen, is drinking a beer, and it kind of starts to turn into slush. They're outside, and a little bit of slush. Not so much that it. I don't want it to when he tries to get the slush out, it spills on his chin, but just the right amount, freezes a little bit into slush. Those are some things, because we're already rolling. But if we have Revo out there throwing footballs, and then we got a little sip of the beer and it's kind of half frozen, sitting outside of a ski village. I picture them in a ski village in Banff.
That's what I'm picturing too.
Hot tubs.
So that's what I'm picturing is hot tub moose.
Yeah.
This is becoming a theme, no shirt.
And they're mixing in with people that are there skiing. And it's exciting for them too, because there's there's a hockey team in our place. And they're hanging out with all these people. Yeah, I want them to be a little bit of mischief. Maybe I don't know, some of the younger guys are meeting people. I want it. That's the vibe I want. An 80s ski movie.
I'm going for a winter version of Not Weird Wild. I want Moose coming out of the hot tub with steam coming off, no shirt. Maybe some of that beer dripping down the side of his mouth. And just with the backdrop of the mountains and snow. That just seems like Moose territory, doesn't it?
It does. Speaking of Not Weird Wild, if you play 11 forwards, you've effectively cloned Kirill, right?
You've cloned Kirill, yeah.
I'm watching because I'm watching him with
on
Freddie.
2 lines.
I'm watching him with Freddie and Voldy, and I'm like, oh, they're playing him with those. And then I watched the next line with Zuki and Steele. He's out there too. I'm like, they've actually cloned Kirill.
Yeah.
Like, why are you playing 11 forwards? Well, if you look at our line chart, 97's on 2 lines now. Seems like maybe that might be a reason that they're doing that.
He doesn't get tired either. I actually think I saw him tired for like the first or second time in overtime yesterday. And I think he probably played 3.5, 4 minutes of the overtime.
Well, you mentioned his hair. You know he's tired when he doesn't even fix. Like his hair's all jacked up in his helmet, and he never touches it to like put it back. He looks like when a baseball player wears a hat, but the hair's coming down.
I was catching heat on Twitter for that, but I think it illustrates that guy gets
think
right
he would
in there
normally, if he wasn't.
If you're a perimeter player, your hair is beautiful all the time.
You would pull off the bucket, push it back, put the bucket back on.
But the only way
he doesn't even have a chance to do that. He might get called out again.
The only way your hair gets like that, disheveled like that, is if you're getting hit. Like if you're in there playing his.
It's like when your buddy helps you put the shoulder pad back in your jersey.
Right.
It had a little bit of that.
Which, by the way, have you guys ever seen the shoulder pad cup that he has on his hip?
No, what does he have? He has an extra pad?
I don't know what it is, but he must have something tied to his pants or his shoulder pads. And then on his right hip, it always pops up. You know how like Gretzky's
He used to tuck in the jersey.
It tucks into that pad, and then there's like a shoulder pad cup that's on the out.
I'll have to check that out. You're a gear guy. We'll have to ask him about that.
Wow.
I think he comes on. I want him and Zuccarello on the podcast together.
Because you'd like to have some like.
Well, it's just
twins.
a great, Well, and we're gonna. So for our listeners, there was a big event here in town, the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame. We interviewed all of the inductees, which was very cool. Today, you're going to hear from the Lamoureux, or the twins, or the Lamoureux sisters. These are some badass ladies. We're going to drop that interview. It was fun. It felt the same as any Wild podcast talking to these two. They gave me a bit of, I don't think it's in the broadcast, but I had referenced drinking seltzer, and they said seltzer water, and I said no, like a White Claw, like a seltzer, like everybody in the world's been drinking for like 10 years. And the one twin, of course, I don't know which one, she just looks at me and says, "What is this, a sorority party?" And I was just like, okay. I don't know if you're bullying me or if this is fun. Is this fun? I mean, but it was
before the handshakes ended on, "Hi, I'm John."
Yeah. I mean, I had already gotten basically alpha'd. I told you this, Cart. So when they got inducted, they both gave great speeches. You'll hear them talking about preparing for that. They both have 3 kids, and they nailed it. And I went up to them afterwards. And when you do a podcast with people, you think like, it feels like you shared something, so I'm like, I'm going to go say hi to them. Like, cause they'll remember that they were on the podcast this morning and we talked, and I'm going to go, not even thinking that for them, they're doing 50 things. They got all their friends there, all their teammates there. And I went up to both of them and it was like, "Good job on your speech." I don't even think they knew who I was.
You got the yeah.
I got the yeah. Very much
and
so.
Then how long did you hang around? Were you like, what? I'm the White Claw guy, remember?
No, I went.
I'm the sorority sister. We're sorority sisters.
Yeah, we're sorority. I wish we were, actually. I would like to be sorority sisters with them. The thing I'm lucky I didn't do is I had in my head that I want them to coach hockey very bad.
We need more of them.
Yes, we need more of them. We need
them around.
The Lamoureux need to make more Lamoureux. And so I was going to, this is how messed up my brain is. I was going to write on a piece of paper, "Please coach," and have 2 of those and just give them to each of them. Like I'm some sort of like God or universe tarot card man. I didn't do that, thank God, because I don't even think they remembered me. But that would have maybe made them never coach because they would think it was scary or something. But they are a good time. They are some badasses. The story you will not hear in this podcast from one of their speeches, she wins the gold medal and on a shootout winner. And as she's on the ice with her family comes onto the ice and everybody's sitting there. I think she even has the flag over her back. And her dad, the dad of both the twins, says, "You could have had 2." And she goes, on her speech, she goes, "About a week later, I watched the game. I could have had 2." I'm like, that is just awesome. I mean, these are some hard hard women, and I think they would make so many good hockey players if they end up coaching.
Oh yeah, and they're just fun. But this must be your thing, because I have one of these cards that John likes to do.
Yeah,
that's
when we signed up to coach together.
Yeah, John does this for coaching. Apparently, the
problem with that one is it has my
dated
name
it 7/25/22. So this is July 25th, 22. U10 or U12 girls hockey head coach cards, assistants Nick Guzzo, John King. Sign it. He says sign right here. Boom.
And I woke up the next day with anxiety about that, thinking I don't have time to do that.
That's a contract.
Okay, so we're signing. It's kind of like you remember when you had a contract to take your shirt off, and then
that was a verbal one, and I need help.
Turned it into a different thing. Hey, should we go to the interview now, and then we'll finish up with a coach? These are the Lamoureux, the twins, thing 1 and thing 2. It's sponsored by Duke Cannon. It is the holiday season. These girls, what would we should have given the girls some Duke Cannon. I don't think we did, but they've got all these giant soaps that are holiday themed. They're great. It's just kind of one of those fun things you can put in the stocking, bring it to a white elephant party, whatever the case may be. They're all over Target. They're all over DukeCannon.com. Whether you're working on your beard, you're working on your flow, you're just trying to get your grooming down, Duke Cannon has it all. And this is the Lamoureux, thing 1 and thing 2 of women's hockey and Team USA.
All right, we're back. We are here. It is U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame night, and we got some special guests today, sometimes referred to as the Lamoureux, the twins, the sisters, basically two badasses that came from North Dakota and took over the women's hockey world and got us an amazing gold medal story. I remember that night like the best of them. So we're so happy you're here celebrating this awesome night with us. And we just, are you excited for, this is a big deal. Where are you staying? Like, what's the setup for you guys? Are you at the St. Paul Hotel or what's this look like?
Yeah, so we're at the St. Paul Hotel. We drove up with we each have 3 kids now. So staying in a hotel room with 3 little kids is
3 under 3.
So those kids are going to just dominate hockey at some point. There's an era coming. A new Wikipedia entry under you guys will be like children play.
Yeah, so staying in a hotel room with 3 kids is eventful, but it's good. We're excited to be here. The drive was good last night, and so
you'd like this podcast to be like 4 hours long, so you don't have to go back.
Yeah, some Brady's.
Like, well, no. Then we ate, and we'll try to see how long we can go. Karts, you want to start? Should we do the rapid fire? We've never done this before with 2 people.
Yeah, but now I need to know. So did you guys drive separate? So you had 6. There's 6 total kids here.
Yeah, we drove separate.
Okay, I was going to say, what kind of vehicle is that?
We would need a Sprinter van if we were all in the same car.
You should have a Sprinter van.
Yeah. Are you guys neighbors?
I do drive a van, though, which is...
Like the minivan thing?
I drive it proudly.
Okay, what is your minivan?
It's a Honda Odyssey.
That's the best one,
You know
right?
what? But the middle row...
Okay.
Can be a bench seat, but you can remove that middle seat, and those 2 bucket seats are on track, so you can move them side to side.
So I'm trying to remember if you were the one that made fun of me for drinking the White Claw, or it was your sister, and you drive a minivan, right?
Yeah, she does.
All right.
She does.
I'm not keeping score, but that's cool.
Monique drives the van, just so we're clear.
That's just to talk to the Lamoureux and ask them if they ever drink hard seltzer and have them. They go, what is this, a sorority party? That's the most hockey thing ever. No, so you got 2 vehicles coming down. That's great. That minivan has maybe like compartments in the floor and stuff.
Gummy
bears. Back, yeah. I don't think I've utilized it completely. We do have a TV in there that I still need to hook up, but
maybe swing by the dealership, have them show you all the bells and whistles.
They should just install it for me and get it all figured out.
It's a nice vehicle. It has a vacuum in it, if I'm not mistaken.
Right? Yes, there's a hookup for one. I don't have it, but I'm thinking about it since my almost 4-year-old dropped the trail mix.
Ooh,
yeah,
so,
tough.
Right.
What is
you get a vacuum?
Well, the kids are just decorating the back is all. Yeah. Should we do rapid fire?
Is this how you wanted your Hockey Hall of Fame moment to go? How do you tell the difference between the Lamoureux? Well, Monique has a vacuum in her car.
Yeah. All right, drives a minivan.
You're gaining a whole new listener clientele here.
Well, good.
Jocelyne curls. All right, so this is called rapid fire. This is how we ease our guests into the podcast. Do this with all the NHLers, and you're basically NHLers as far as we're concerned. So we're going to try to do this. I guess you just answer the question at the same time, and we'll kind of sort through it. So, nickname.
Joss.
Joss and Mo. Okay. Stuck to the first names. That makes sense.
Well, but
it would have been
most
confusing.
would say twins, lambs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the Lamoureux, like where you're just, it's like thing 1 and thing 2. It's like you're a different species. Like you know what I mean? Gives you more respect.
Some people, we used to be called the Sickles because some of our teammates called us Lamb Pops. And then it was Popsicles, and then it got short to Sickles.
I like that.
Some teammates would know that one.
Weirdest thing in your overnight bag?
Nose of Frida.
I was just gonna say
booger.
that nose of Frida spray.
What is that?
It's just
You have a lot of booger problems?
our kids too.
For the kids.
okay.
When you
Kids
pack
do.
for kids,
Okay.
you pack the dumbest stuff.
No, we're doing hockey overnight bag.
Yeah,
This
I
is-
thought you hated
is-
like
you have
breathe
to
rights or
specify.
something.
This is you're on your way to defeat Canada in an Olympic gold medal game. What's in your hotel overnight?
Ooh, diffuser, like a essential oil diffuser.
Okay, both
I mean, when we went to Korea, we brought our own coffee beans.
Oh yeah.
strong.
Mhm.
I like that. What do you listen to in the car?
Country.
Country.
Awesome. It's your birthday. Where are you going to dinner?
Spankies.
Oh, and
It's a nice steakhouse in the Detroit Lakes area.
Obviously, because of the name. Where are you going?
well, I would say birthday, so that'd be summer, so we'd be at the lake. So I would say Spankies too.
I want to go to Spanky's. Okay, you've traveled a lot with hockey. If you had a green light, you get to go out, and the coach basically says, "You guys did great tonight. Go blow off some steam." If you could do that in any city, where would it be?
That never happened.
Never have.
We'll get into that when you're interviewing.
Any city.
If you're gonna rip it up,
I mean, Vancouver was fun.
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah.
Hockey jersey you had as a kid.
I don't
No,
think-
we got hand-me-downs, so I don't think we really had
No, like
one solid
player
one.
jersey or like
No.
pregame meal.
Pancakes.
Yep.
What?
Banana pancakes.
Like a 7:00 game?
That's
So
what
we
yeah.
had a lot of afternoon games, but we would make pancakes in the mornings, like
Oh.
oatmeal. What was the recipe?
It was like banana chocolate chip oatmeal
Oh my
pancakes.
God, that's
Yeah.
great. We got to have the recipe on the podcast. Huss, will you make sure we get that? Go-to drink at the bar. It comes full circle.
Seltzer.
Red wine.
Red wine.
A Riesling.
Okay. So that's how you tell them.
How's the Riesling at Spanky's?
It's good. I've had it like once. I haven't been there, and I got to stop having kids so I can
Oh.
go have a drink or two. So
Yeah. Well, you've got
Yeah.
you've got 6 now. I mean, that's
well,
gonna,
three.
Anybody going to be a goalie? I mean, we got a
Absolutely
whole
not.
group.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
Our oldest brother's a goalie, and he brought out his gear during street hockey. And my oldest son,
No,
really,
don't let him see the gear.
And so my husband also played. We just
Who's
score.
6'4", by the way.
Yeah, we just
Nice.
score on him nonstop, relentless. Like we don't care if he's crying at the end of it. Like we just keep scoring on him if he wants to play goalie.
How tall is your husband?
5'8".
Oh, so the genes are going to go. You're going to
Size wise, yes.
Oh man, that's tough.
Speed's gonna go to my side. though, I
Ooh, okay.
You guys aren't competitive at all, though.
Definitely not. Perfect weekend. What are you doing?
Going to the lake.
I love that you answered that exact country. Going to the lake, Spankies, hidden talent. This could be different.
I
don't even know.
What if it's a
You know
twin
what?
thing?
I can stay calm amongst the chaos of having 3 kids under 4 years old.
That's a superpower.
That's
a superpower.
good. That's good.
Most
I
days.
feel like I'm not really good at anything right now. I don't even know what to say.
She's like speech writing. You'll see tonight. How about a hidden gift card from any store?
Target comes to mind.
Starbucks.
Nice.
Those
Last thing
coffees are expensive today.
they are. Last thing you binged watched.
Yellowstone?
Handmaid's Tale.
Nice. Buying clothes. Where do you go?
Athleta
Yeah.
right now. Yeah.
All right. Lululemon.
Yep. Favorite holiday.
Christmas.
4th of July.
Who plays you guys in the movie?
I mean, if you want to be flattering, Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
Nice. Nice. She can play both.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, pay her half. So
I got a couple of quick ones.
Oh, yeah.
Who do you guys text the most?
Each other.
Each other. Okay. You guys both said your nicknames. You guys have a pet peeve?
Chewing loudly.
Chewing, like smacking gum.
Really? Both have the
Or
same
just
pet
food.
peeve?
Or food in general. Like it.
Oh, yeah.
Or like I will get up and leave a room or like turn a TV on
Chewing
loudly.
food if you breathe heavy while you're chewing your food is really annoying. Right?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Do you guys share your Netflix accounts? Or do you
No.
have your own?
We have our own.
We have our own.
Really?
Oh, geez.
Netflix, all of them, you have your own? Do you share
Well, I
any
actually
of
never
those?
had a Netflix account, so because it was my husband's, so I never even had one.
Wow.
I don't think we share that stuff.
How about like
It's
a
smart to do that though.
I know you don't want to ask like the twin things, or I don't want to ask them. Do you like
I
let's
don't
say-
want to, but I'm going to.
Let's say you have a membership at like Lifetime Fitness. Do you guys just have one membership and then
Have you ever played the system?
I think the
Boring.
answer
I
is
don't think we have.
Yeah. I think the answer is
I mean,
no
we've
to that.
pretended to be each other, I think, to like.
Have
It's a joke.
has any of you guys so
We did it once when we had World Championships in Kamloops, 2015 or 16, and I was playing D at the time. Jocelyne was playing forward, and the joke was on us because our coaches couldn't figure it out.
I couldn't tell.
And couldn't tell. So when we went to switch our jerseys in the middle of the ice, everyone was laughing except our coaches
Because they still didn't get
Because
it.
they still didn't pick up on it. So it wasn't as funny as we thought it would be.
well, so that's what I thought I was actually gonna ask that at some point if you guys just randomly switch positions mid game and then just roll with it. No?
In high school, we did once when we were pumping a team in the third, right?
Yep. I got you a point and you got me a penalty.
That's so great.
By the way, you guys should have a podcast.
No
My
doubt.
God, I just love this. We do got to make it more serious though, because these are some legit badasses. So we got to make sure we give them like the Hall of Fame stuff, so it's not all jokey. So the Olympic gold was just. I was in New York. It was late at night watching
Having White
this.
Claws.
I don't know if White Claws were around. They weren't that big back then.
He's gluten free.
But so the obviously game tying goal as well as the shootout, fake forehand backhand shot. I'm trying to remember. I just looked at it again today. But talk about the Olympic gold and that just all of that whole experience. I'd love to hear it from you guys firsthand.
Well, I mean, South Korea, that was our third Olympics. And so for a reminder to the viewers, in Sochi, we were up 2-0 with like 2 minutes left. And
Horrible. That girl, she
The
scored
post.
both of them, right?
Poulin scored 2 of their 3. Yep.
Nightmare.
I know. Still mad about it. They tied it up. We lose in overtime. And we were probably the favorites to win that Olympics. And so just a pretty heartbreaking loss. And so going into as an Olympic athlete, you basically block your life out in like 4-year increments. And so it's like, hey, are we going to go another 4 years? We know what that entails and everything that goes into it. But to be able to go to that Olympics and to that game specifically, right before we were leaving the village, we were just getting ready. So we're in like an apartment building. So it was us 2 and 3 other teammates, but we were getting ready to go. And Jocelyne turned to me and she goes, "You always score when it matters most." So just to know that she said that, as we're about to go to the rink, because you look back on it, it's like pretty cool. But when I see my goal, I think of the backhand pass I caught that came through from blue line to blue line pretty much. And I think of a drill that our brother used to do with us where he would just rip backhand passes at us and we would just have to and you're just working on catching hard backhand passes that might not be on the tape. And I think of once or twice a week, we were always working on that. So if I don't catch that pass, that blows off my stick and into the corner and there's no breakaway. So to be able to know that the little things that you worked on came in at the most needed time, to be able to have a moment like that's pretty special. So, but to only be outdone by Jocelyne.
And then just when you're basking in the glory of the big goal and the big moment, she's like, stick around and stay. So talk about the shootout winner.
Yeah, I mean, I think reflecting back, especially the last couple of days, thinking about moments in your career, obviously that's kind of what I'm known for now. But I would say when I think about that shootout specifically, Amanda Kessel was going. We were down by 1 in the shootout, and I got tapped on the shoulder right before she went to shoot. So she had to tie it up, and then so she goes down, she ties it, and then I get told if it goes into extra shooters, you're going. So I was the 6th shooter. I wasn't in the top 5. And
so what was your first initial thought when you got tapped?
She's thinking, why wasn't I in the top 5?
That's about right.
I can tell that about your personality. Oh, now you want me to shoot.
So, and then it rotated. So then we ended up going first once it went to sudden death. And so I think, you dream about having moments like that, and you work on stuff in practice after practice, and, hopefully maybe you get a shot to go in a shootout, if the game ever goes into a shootout. And so to have it work out the way it did, and obviously Monique tying the game makes it pretty special for us and our family. But like Monique said, to have things pay off, like you're not always guaranteed to win, let alone have moments like that. And we put years and years of work into being where we were. And so to have it pay off like that is pretty special for us.
You have the world championships every year, and you guys are just stringing together golds, and then you got this Olympic stage where everything kind of changes. And how, as a player that's had success at both levels, how do you weight like world championship versus Olympics? Is it the same feeling as like the hockey fan, where like the Olympics are 5x a world championship, or do you almost think of it more annually, like we were the best team that year, we got the gold, and it's just not an Olympic year? How do you think about those two things? I always wondered that.
I would say the Olympics are more important.
Yeah.
Like that, I mean,
absolutely.
Even the like Hockey Canada and USA Hockey and Finland too, like you're built after each Olympics, you're basically now preparing for like the next 4 years
Olympics.
and building towards having your best team in 4 years. And so they started adding a world championship though, tournament on Olympic years as well. So this last year was the first time they've done that. So now on Olympic years, they'll have a world championships on top of that. But it's definitely, I mean, the holy grail would be Olympic gold. So
should we go back into the childhood? We should do a little, growing up, huge hockey family, you know, the brother, the dad, North Dakota. I got to know what to see. You were a long ways away from vacuum cleaners and minivans, I'm guessing, when you were growing up. Can you take us into the childhood home that creates these two world-class hockey players?
Everything was just competitive, like trying to get the front seat at the car. We would get picked up, and this is funny because at swim practice, you had like a 50-yard run from the door to the parking lot, and you didn't want to get there first because you're going to be the first one to get blown up off the door. Everything was just a competition. If we're playing outside, there was a coulee or a pond across the street from our house. We'd play outside, and we were expected to keep up. Like if we wanted to play with our brothers, like we had to keep up, and no one took it easy on us. We would get thrown into the snowbank. I remember our brother Jacques two-handed me like really hard one time, and it was just, I ran inside crying, and my mom was like, "That's what you're gonna get if you play with the boys." And it was just that's just how it was.
And would he stick up for you though with if other boys were giving you a hard time, or other teams? Because you won,
absolutely.
You won state. Yeah. You won state as a peewee, right? On the Seawolves, right? What was it like playing with the boys growing up, and how much grief did you get?
I would say the older we got, the more, so we played 3 years of checking. So this is when checking was in Pee-wees at the time. And so we played through 2 years of Pee-wees and then 1 year Bantams before we switched over to girls hockey. And I would say once we hit the checking piece of it, then it would get more physical, where boys would try and just always run us over, but we did not do ourselves any favor because our dad always told us, like, you find the biggest player on their team and you go knock them on their ass. Like so we probably did not help ourselves by doing that.
Did you guys smoke a lot of, did you lay people out when you were hitting?
We were probably the most physical players on our team. So it was
Yeah.
I love that.
Did you feel that you had to be like there was something to prove, or that's just the way you are?
For sure. Both. I would say something to prove, and then it was the way we just were.
Like it's almost like punch or be punched. If we hit them hard first, then we kind of set the tone. Like that's the way it is, or they're gonna come in.
Well, and it's just kind of the way we always played. Like even when we started playing with girls, the first tournaments we played in, we'd play with girls that were like 4 or 5 years older than us, and we'd be some of the smallest ones on the ice, but we physically would just I don't know if we felt like we had to impose ourselves, but that just became a part of our game. And obviously it didn't help with the penalty minutes, but it just, I think growing up the way we did, that was just kind of in our DNA as far as how we played.
Do you think playing checking helped you guys as players in the women's game, like Olympic games? And
I think initially, it probably hindered us a little bit in just learning how to channel our intensity, if you will, to put it the right way. Just we would be
play on the line, but not over the line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think just that finding that maturity in our game during our national team career. Once we did that, I think it was a huge strength of ours, because the way that we played, it made everybody else have to like raise their game as far as being physical and just playing with intensity and just being gritty in the corners and everything.
Yeah, and I think especially with girls hockey, you don't there's no checking, but there can be contact.
It's physical. That's what
and then depending on how the refs are, you can have very different games. But I think for us, just coming into the girls' game and then stepping into the national team, like there was an element of physicality that we felt like was missing, and a part of that was tied to the intensity level. And I think, the reason we found success for as long as we did was because we brought that type of intensity every single day and every single game. And it just, I think, brought the level up as far as like, Monique made a joke in an interview the other day, like Happy Gilmore, like that's my puck. Don't you ever touch my puck. And that's kind of how it
when I was doing my research, we asked Angela Ruggiero about these guys coming in, and she said they just came in hot into the USA Hockey program. Like the old guard was sort of like,
well,
who in the hell are these
would
two?
go in we would be like the first in line in drills and stuff. So they were probably like, who do these girls think they are, just going in the front of the line? So we probably could have been knocked down a few pegs.
Her term was relentless pests, because they were just young punks pissing all the old guard around, buzzing around. But then she said, it was one of the great joys in her career to watch you guys. You became the favorites of all the, the kind of OGs, because you played the same style as them, and they just were like, "This is real. These aren't just two kids coming in. They're the real deal." So I love that story, and I think she maybe she handed you your gold medal, or she said that was one of her greatest moments to kind of see you guys come full circle. So I can just picture you. It's like you're basically acting like you got to run to the car after swim practice in the middle of a USA Hockey practice.
Yeah, and I think what got us, the respect from the veterans on the team was like, it wasn't just for show, because a lot of the national team events, like you're showing up for a week or two, and then you go back to your team and you show up for another week or two. And so it's easy, I think, to kind of, just show up and do those things for a week and then go back to your normal routine. But I think as people got to know us, like that was how we were 24/7 every single day, no matter what rink we were playing at. And it was just, I think, again, that's why we were able to play as long as we did the way we did, was because that's how it was for real. And it was like, there was nothing like that we were pretending to be, I think, when we showed up that young.
Have you guys ever played on separate teams?
Did we? No, there was one tournament, Four Nations, where she made it and I did not, but that was the only tournament.
Yeah. So how'd you even that score up?
Well, it was obviously was
the
not
vacuum
happy.
Yeah. She got the vacuum.
I mean, come on. If you're looking for a vacuum, she's got the only one.
I actually just got a new Dyson too, but
stay down. Curl that.
Yeah. No, that was because we were freshmen in college that year. It was the year before the Olympics, and so that was like, for me, it was like a pretty big blow. But I knew as far as making a world championship roster, would have been a couple months later. Playing good during my college season was more important than being on that roster for that tournament. So had a good college season that year, and we we both made the world championship roster that year. So I would say it was more of a motivator.
So when Monique says play good, she broke like freshman season records in the WCHA. That's what that means.
We're familiar with your Wikipedia. Congratulations.
So you guys are obviously competitive. Who's got the better shot?
What kind of shot?
Oh, wow. So you got like a better slapper?
Or I got a better one-timer.
You got a better one-timer? Mm-hmm. Well, you guys have this really dialed
I mean, like
out.
shooting from the point, obviously me.
Oh, yeah.
Snapshot.
You have no idea.
Probably
like
shooting.
Jocelyne's shooting ear high.
At your ears.
Who's the better skater? They're going to be like forwards or backwards?
Well, backwards, obviously.
I would say like I'm quicker from like
easy
goal line
You're
to
gonna
blue
break these guys up.
But goal line to goal line, Monique probably catches me at the end.
Yep.
Like an 18-wheeler. Just kidding.
So, and then now you guys wrote a book.
Yes.
Tell us about the book and maybe who wrote more of it.
Dare to make history.
Well, it goes back and forth. Our voices goes back and forth. So we probably did.
It's about half and half.
Yeah, but I think I did more of the editing for some reason. Yeah.
This is the audio book. Your voices go back and forth?
No.
We don't have an audio book. We just you have to actually read it.
Oh,
you should have an audio book.
No, so you guys tell us about the book.
I mean, it talks about basically in depth what we're talking about now: growing up, going to Shattuck, our national team experience, our contract negotiation with USA Hockey, all of that. Basically,
equal
in
pay.
Depth. Yeah, and the first decision we had to make when we were writing the book was were we going to go, okay, it'd be my chapter and Monique's chapter, are we going to interchange? And that was the biggest decision and what we felt, because like you can hear us talk now, we're kind of just interchanging and cut each other off or finish each other's sentences. We felt like that was the appropriate way to use our voice.
Yeah, a big chunk of the book we talk about our contract negotiations with USA Hockey, and so that's, I think, a big part of our story and what we're most proud of when it comes to our careers. Like, yes, all the medals and everything are great and obviously a dream come true, but what our team was able to do and accomplish for not just that team specifically, but for the future generations of women's national team players and girls hockey in general, I think is what, I mean, we look back at that time and like that's what we're most proud of, and hopefully will change the landscape for women's hockey players.
Absolutely.
And when you say our contract negotiation, do you mean like for the team or like individually?
The team.
Yeah, it's the team thing for the players, for all of that. Like, because you talked about it, like playing for USA Hockey is like a 4-year commitment in that spot, right? And
yeah, so the time, so if you're graduated from college and you're playing on the national team, when we graduated, I had a full-time job. Monique was working, like you were doing some odd end things, and then training, playing, and then working, trying to make ends meet. And after a year of doing that, and then obviously other teammates going through very similar situations, we're like, okay, we need to create some sustainability, because this is not sustainable. The way that the older players basically felt like they had to retire because they're working full-time jobs on top of training, and so it was a 3-year process of back and forth with USA Hockey. And so when we say we, it wasn't just our team, it wasn't just the two of us, it was our entire pool of players that agreed, like, we're gonna ask for fight for more, so that players can continue to play. And so like tonight, we're retired, and we saw the benefit of some of the contract, but there's players now continuing to play well after their college career that are on the national team now. And so Minnesota players like Kelly Panic, Lee Steckline, Maddie Rooney, Hannah Brandt, like those players, without those contracts, would they still be playing? I think is a question mark, and now they're able to keep playing.
That's great.
And so to summarize this a little bit, you guys are proud of what you've done on the ice and the gold medal and doing all of that stuff. But the legacy piece with tonight in USA Hockey that you're most proud of is that, and setting future players up and giving them the ability to play hockey and not have to worry about potentially a second job or how's this going to get paid for. Because it is, I mean, it's after college, right? And things like that. And those are real life problems.
Yeah, I think that, and then just the culture shift our leadership group was able to really make, I think, throughout our career. When 2010. So we got silver in Vancouver, but we were like, Canada was the favorite to win. We had won the World Championships the year prior, but I think after that Olympics, I think like us two, Hillary Knight, Megan Duggan, Casey Bellamy,
Kelly Stack.
Yeah, just there.
Gigi Marvin.
I mean, Decker and Kendall. So you think there's a group of us that really like came in after that Olympics, or we're already there, and just really like from a strength and conditioning standpoint, from a preparation, mental, just everything. I think we just like, hey, if we want to win and we want to be at the top, like we got to make some changes. And I feel like it really, I mean, we went from after 2010, we won 5 out of 6 world championships and won one of the next 2 Olympics. And so it really, I think, was a culture shift and just a mentality shift in our program. So I think that is something I think we're also extremely proud
And that
of.
shift is like, we're not Canada's little sister anymore. We're here to win gold, period, right? I mean, that's what I felt is that's what you change and how you trained as well. But like, there's only one spot on the top of the podium, and that's what we're headed for.
Yeah, and like we grew up in Grand Forks, North Dakota, and our dad's from Alberta, so like we're very familiar with Canadian hockey. And I mean, the way Canadians walk into a rink, like they walk in with a chip on their shoulder, like they own the place most of the time. Like that's just kind of how they roll. And I think we felt like, okay, we know that we know their mentality, and like we got to match that and be better than that. And they walk in like they never think they're going to lose a game when they come to the rink. And so that's what we needed as a team and a program. Just needed a mindset shift. Like it's not going to be luck of the draw if we win this game. Like we're going to show up and win because we're better.
That's great. I know we have to finish, but I just have you thought about your speeches and how's that going to go? Like the Sedines, there's a total sellout move, which is one of you gets up and says the other one's better. Yeah. And then you're just like off the hook. Like, have you thought about how you're going to do the speeches together?
Well, we're not going back to back.
They split us up.
They split us up. I know that. So.
Nice. That's
Are you guys mad? Do you run different teams, or like that's like splitting you up on teams? You guys upset, or are you cool with that?
That's what Fish told us. We're like, okay.
We'll give it to Fish.
And then I was hoping I wasn't going to go first, but apparently I'm first tonight. So
nice. I think it's better to go first.
I have a few notes written on a piece of paper, and I have been trying to find 10 minutes to myself, and have not found. I haven't found that 10 minutes yet. So hopefully.
Same.
Okay, and then this is my last question. When you sign for the rest of your life, a little HOF, like if you're on the digital display at Starbucks, write your name and then HOF. You get to write HOF on every signature from now on. Hall of Fame.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like if you sign memorabilia, you get the HOF on there. So you got to start just working it into everything.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's like literally
That's
the best thing about making the Hall of Fame is you just write HOF after your name, like on checks, anything.
Oh, on checks.
Even on checks.
So congrats on that. Do you have anything else?
I'm just curious what you guys do. Like, obviously your mom and you guys are busy, and you've even competed there, and you have 3 children. Who's has got the oldest?
Our oldest boy is Mickey is 6 weeks older than Nelson, and then our middle ones, mine is 4 months older, and then our youngest ones, they're 4 months apart.
Yeah.
Jeez. So how many boys and how many girls?
I'm boy,
girl.
boy, girl, boy.
Yeah.
Are you going to coach? Like, is this going to be a whole thing?
Yeah.
Are we going to have your kids on the podcast soon?
Well, I've been asked to coach a high school team in East Grand Forks. They keep trying to get me to coach. I'm like, if I'm going to start coaching anytime soon, it's going to be my kids' team. So we'll see.
Well, I look forward to that. That's going to be some serious stuff coming through the pipeline.
So you guys are authors, your mom. Anything else on the docket for you guys right now?
Well, I'm working as a strength coach again. Started working a couple months ago, so I'm doing that. I work with Monique's husband actually, but I think we're just trying to figure like this season of life just feels hectic and chaotic a lot of the time.
Sure.
So once we kind of get through the next couple of years, I think
Well, I hope you guys coach, man. Just listening to you and the change you made for this generation, imagine the impact you could have through your own kids on the next generation. I hope you're behind the bench just selfishly. So thank you for joining us and congratulations on an amazing honor. And we'll see you tonight. We'll have some fun.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So what did you make of the Lamoureux?
Wow. I first of all, they're fun, and like we said before, we need more of them in hockey. And that was my question as they were leaving us. It was like, "Are you guys going to stay in hockey? Do you have interest?" And they both kind of looked at me like I was asking like a personal question, which I don't know why, but then I was instantly scared and intimidated because they're kind of like, for whatever reason, they frighten.
They're scary, but also exciting.
Yeah. But it's like it's like
if they kidnapped you and brought you to that island in Wonder Woman where it's all like these badass warrior women, it would be fun, but you would be scared.
Yeah, but they're fun. They know.
He's like, I'm not talking about that. No, but they are legit badasses.
Yeah, they are. But they know hockey and they're good at it, and they're fun personalities and they've got some great stories. There's no question about it. We should do some quick hits on the Wild coming out of this, unless you have anything more.
Yeah, let's do it. Finish with that.
So first of all, let's give some love to Dewar. This guy is like a shorthanded machine.
He's a fast skater, man. When he was just at the Jets, what is that?
I know. So I actually want to know, fans, let's hear it. It's him in a foot race with Ryan Suter, right, down the ice.
He is so fast.
Yeah, and it's just boom. But yeah, Dewar, I don't know that I see that speed 5-on-5. That's probably something where it's kind of like a question mark. The guy gets shot out of a cannon every time. It's, he's shorthanded. He's got a good stick, and then nobody can catch him. He's got 2 shorthanded goals on the year, 3 total.
Dog on the bone. I did watch his Becoming Wild, and he's a serious dude.
Yeah.
He is I don't know if he's a firstborn kid or whatever, but he's serious. And he really
that's a firstborn trait.
Yeah, I mean that would be the cliche, right? He feels like the he's got a little weight on his shoulders, and it's where he's at isn't even good enough for where he wants to be. He's very driven. He seemed like he's doing a great job. He works his ass off.
Yeah, he does. So he's great. Kirill goal against Dallas. What he did you see how he was like looking past the whole time, and then all of a sudden in like a fraction of a second he sees that Ottinger's like down. Yeah. There's a little net there, pulls it back, and then fires it top shelf.
That's when in his eye the screen probably shows him it's open.
For me, that's like equivalent to you're going to the restroom and halfway through relieving yourself, you pinch it off, and then
no, you can never do that.
That's what I'm saying. It's that hard to do.
No, that can hurt you.
That's basically what he did real time on the ice. That's how hard that is.
Yeah. Well, that does make it hard. I don't know if it would make it would. I don't even like talking about what he just said, because if you stop it, it's not good. That's so yeah. But he's not a normal person. I really do think. I hope they are making snow Kirills in Banff in the snow.
So a couple of the Vikings came to the Wild game versus Edmonton.
Yeah, Thielen
was there. Bradbury on the glass. They had a handful of dudes there, and the crowd gives the Skol chant. And it wasn't long after that Kirill scores that goal. It was like face-off play, Skol chant, face-off play, goal.
Yep.
Are the Vikings aware that that St. Paul is now in possession of the chains? Did the Vikings come back and take him? Because if you look at the game from yesterday, the Vikings game, they're running away with it. Looks like they've got an easy win against the Jets. All of a sudden, the Jets come back and 4th down play, and the Jets receiver gets hit right in the hands. Like, that's caught 99.9% of the time out of 100, and it's dropped. The magic seemed like it was back in Minneapolis. You look at the wins that the Wild had after that. It was Anaheim shootout, Dallas give up 4-goal lead with 18 minutes left in the third, barely squeak out a win. They're fighting for it, the Wild are right now, but the magic may have left back to Minneapolis. I think Thielen, Bradbury, they knew it, they came, they stole it. We might have to find a way to get it back once again.
Or
we're sharing?
Are we cosmic twins? Okay, because both teams nothing's easy. And we've known this. That's how we started the podcast. Nothing is easy in Minnesota sports. It's never going to be easy for us because this is how we do it. And even though the Vikings are, what are they? 10-2?
Yeah, something like that.
10-2.
Yeah. They're Mohawking.
That's been hard. It's been, some would say, an unsatisfying road to 10-2, but they are 10-2. The Wild, just 6 out of 7, 4 in a row. All of them kind of a little uneven, no blowouts, no, easy ones. So I wonder if we're maybe cosmic twins there. Maybe we're in the same wavelength. Maybe it is going to turn into Minnesota. Maybe they just go, we go, we all walk differently 12 months from now.
So, yeah, I mean,
we could be cosmic twins. I'm not ruling
that would be great.
Plus,
because
it's twins on the episode.
Like the Tampa Bay Lightning win a cup,
twins.
And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win a Super Bowl.
It gets into the Aquarius water if you do it, if you start winning as a town.
You might be onto something here because the Boston Bruins win a cup and the Patriots win a Super Bowl.
Celtics won one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Minnesota maybe. I don't want to throw shade on those guys or steal. I think we're on the same wavelength. 2 steps forward, maybe 1 step back. But that wins 7-game series. And it appears that wins football games too. So 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I'm down with that. Do you have anything else on your guys here that we need to hit? Addison rising up we don't probably give him enough love, man. He has changed the power play. He's an assist machine. They call some guys a Cy Young when they're all goals and no assists. What do they call the guys that are just assists? I mean, he's an assist machine.
Yeah, he's just a playmaker. But with him, he's a quiet dude and kind of unassuming. I don't know. He just kind of goes about his business and does his job out there. But he has been noticeable on the power play. I think we could probably touch on the power play in itself, and it's kind of crazy. That we're 16 power play goals into the year, and only 6 players have a power play point. The only guy that has a power play point not on that top unit is Marcus Foligno, and I think he picked up those points when Eriksson Ek was out.
Yeah, he was on it. Yeah,
he was on the top unit.
Are we a top 10 unit power play?
Yeah, right now we're a top 10 unit. I'd have to look at the numbers, but I think we were 9th before the Dallas game and went 1 for 4 or 5, whatever it was. But so that's 20%. That's going to keep the average up there. But a big piece of it is Addison, and I thought he was shooting the puck a little bit more early on in the year. Now he's playing a little bit more quarterback, but they're scoring and it's working. So I think a lot of credit goes to him. And
Dean, I guess, right? I mean, to change it. I thought Greenway was great yesterday.
Yeah, he's just
all over. He almost fought a goalie. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah.
What was going on there?
Well, Gibson was all upset about something that happened in front, and then Greenway just kind of stood there. And there's a guy trying to push Greenway away, but was into Gibson, and then Gibson came over the top with the right, and Greener said, "Okay, that's enough."
The camera angle was the best because Gibson was running his mouth and you just saw his head. He was yapping and you just see Greenway just a couple little rabbit punches right under his chin, under the goalie mask. It's like, this is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just thrown it. When they were practicing about a week ago and we were walking out of the podcast, I think he scored in a drill and he went and skated full speed into the wall and jumped into the glass. There were some fans watching. I was like, he is back. I mean, because to watch him a couple weeks ago, skating by himself with a trainer, looked to be in some discomfort, trying to do turns, and now he just looks like he's not thinking about it anymore.
Right, he's just playing.
Yeah, and
it actually looks like he's taken out there. It's not like he's playing, going through the motions. He's like, everything. I want more minutes. I want to play more.
Yeah,
I want to win the battles. And I think forever, if you were going to say anything about Greenway, where you're like, when is it going to show up? It's the goal scoring. Like, when is he going to start shooting more? When is he going to start scoring those net front goals? He did this weekend, and it's like it almost looks like a switch went off. Like it's like he's figured it out.
No, it's good. I was a big fan of his effort. I think I really like what we're doing. We'll see what we do out west.
All right. So Singer, how do you feel about your game, the podcast today? It was a good start. Lamoureux interview was good. Yeah. How'd you feel it went?
I thought, I'm a team player, and when one of my boys is in trouble, I'm going to be there for him. Can we please cut to another camera? Why do you have a towel over half of you?
Well, because
hey, let's wrap this thing up. We did our bet. We did it. If you're listening at home, I look exactly like Ryan Hartman with my shirt off, which is weird but once my shirt's off, I have exactly the same body as him. That's what I look like now. Carter looks kind of like Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and we both have our shirts off. We honored the bet, and we're here.
Till it's here.
Bye.